He's there, but you feel alone. You're not fighting. He still comes home. Maybe he even says "I love you" when he leaves the room. But deep down, something feels missing. The connection, the closeness, the warmth you used to feel, it's like it slowly drained out of the relationship and no one ever talked about it. And now you're left wondering, is it me? Did I get too needy? Too sensitive? But here's the truth most people never say out loud. Love doesn't always disappear in a dramatic breakup. Sometimes it fades quietly through lack of effort, through absence disguised as presence. Sometimes they stay, but their heart has already packed its bags. If he says he loves you, why does it feel like he's not even trying? That ache in your chest isn't imaginary. That distance you feel isn't something you made up. You're just noticing what your nervous system has been trying to tell you. He's emotionally checked out, even if he's physically still there. In this video, we're going to talk about 10 real grounded signs that your partner may not love you anymore, even if he says he does. These aren't dramatic red flags. They're the subtle, hollow behaviors that chip away at your confidence and leave you questioning your worth. Let's finally name what you've been feeling. And if any part of this clicks, remember to like the video and subscribe. You deserve more moments of clarity like this. You ask how his day was, and he answers with one word. Not because he's tired, not because something's wrong, but because he just doesn't think to include you anymore. You used to talk for hours. Now, even 5 minutes feels like you're pulling teeth. When someone stops sharing their world with you, it's not always because they're hiding something. Sometimes, it's because they've stopped thinking of you as someone they want to bring into it. That's what emotional disconnection looks like. Not silence after a fight, but silence for no reason. A shrinking of presence, a pulling away that leaves you in the dark. And the worst part? You start filling in the blanks yourself, blaming yourself for the quiet, wondering if you're just bad at relationships. You're not. You're just standing in a conversation that he already stopped participating in. You knew something wasn't right. This is why. He says he's busy, too tired, stressed, but somehow he still finds time for his friends, or his phone, for everything else that lights him up. Just not you. At first, you believe him. You give him space. You wait. But that space starts to stretch wider and colder. And eventually you realize it's not about his schedule, it's about his effort. Love doesn't always scream, but it shows up. It makes room. It reaches out. If he never reaches for you anymore, if he's always somewhere else when you need closeness, it's not about how much you're asking. It's about how little he's offering. And that emptiness you feel, that's not you being dramatic. That's your heart recognizing its own neglect. You tell him something exciting, he barely looks up, you cry in front of him, and he doesn't even shift. His emotional temperature stays flat. No matter what you're going through, that's not stability. That's detachment, and it's one of the most painful kinds, because it makes you start to wonder, am I too much? Too emotional? You're not. You're just trying to connect with someone who's no longer emotionally available. Someone who sees your feelings, not as invitations for closeness, but as interruptions. It's like standing in a room with someone who refuses to look at you. And even if he says he loves you, love without emotional response isn't love, it's presence without participation. And that hurts in a way that's hard to explain until now. You used to feel chosen. Now you feel like a convenience. He reaches out, but only when he needs something, when it benefits him. A ride, a favor. A place to crash emotionally when his world feels too loud. But when you need support, he goes quiet. Maybe he even calls you too needy. But here's the truth. Needing connection isn't neediness. It's human. And if the only time he leans in is when it's about him, that's not love. That's access. You're not his safe place. You're his safety net. And that constant one-sidedness starts to chip away at your sense of worth. You start wondering if your value is only in what you give. But you are more than your usefulness, and real love never feels like a transaction. You tell yourself he's just independent. He likes his space, but deep down you know it's not space, it's absence. You make the plans, you initiate the conversations, you do the emotional labor of holding the connection together piece by piece, and he just coasts, detached, passive, waiting. That's not a relationship, that's survival mode. You've learned to lower your expectations so you won't feel disappointed. You've stopped asking for things so he won't pull away even more. But slowly, your needs shrink to fit inside the relationship's smallness. And that's how you lose yourself. Not all at once, but over time. And it's not because you love too much. It's because he showed up too little. You try to talk about what's missing, about how distant he's become. And somehow the conversation always ends with you apologizing. Somehow, you become the problem, for simply wanting closeness, reassurance, effort. He deflects, he dismisses. Maybe he even calls you dramatic. But this isn't drama. This is you trying to hold on to something that keeps slipping through your fingers. When someone truly loves you, they lean in when you're hurting. They don't make you feel guilty for noticing the distance. And yet, here you are, holding both the pain and the blame. This is not emotional partnership. This is emotional gaslighting. And the longer it goes on, the more you start to distrust your own instincts. But let me say this clearly. If you're constantly being blamed for the disconnect, even when all you're doing is asking for love, that's not your failure. That's your clarity. That's your truth trying to speak. And if what you're hearing right now feels painfully familiar, like a story you've lived but never had words for, take a second to like this video and subscribe. You deserve more of this clarity and less of the confusion you've been carrying. You start to notice he doesn't respect the relationship anymore, not in loud, obvious ways, but in quiet ones. The wandering eyes, the late-night texts to people he once called just friends, the jokes that cross lines, the subtle ways he makes you feel replaceable. You try to brush it off. You don't want to seem insecure, but deep down you feel it, the erosion of commitment, the slow leak of respect. Real love creates a sense of safety, not perfection, not control, but mutual protection. And when someone starts acting like the relationship is optional, it's because they've already started treating your heart like it is. Love without respect isn't love. It's performance. You stop recognizing the version of you you've become, the one who begs, the one who shrinks, the one who puts in all the effort just to keep the relationship from flatlining. You try, you plan dates, you check in, you read articles about how to reconnect, but he doesn't meet you there. He doesn't try. And it's not because he doesn't know how, it's because he doesn't feel the need to. When someone loves you, they don't want to lose you. They show up. And when they stop showing up over and over again, that's not a phase, that's a pattern. You don't have to chase love. The kind that's real, it meets you where you are. The hardest part, he doesn't seem to care if you're happy or not. You could walk in glowing or gutted, and his energy stays the same. Numb, unmoved, indifferent. And that indifference becomes the loudest message of all. You try to convince yourself he's just overwhelmed, that he's not good at emotions. But eventually you realize it's not that he can't respond, it's that he doesn't want to. When someone loves you, your happiness matters to them. Your sadness pulls them closer. But when your emotions stop making any impact, it's because your presence no longer moves them. And that is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their absence. A heart that has gone quiet while still pretending to stay. Here's the truth no one tells you. Not every I love you is followed by effort. Not every relationship ends with a breakup. Sometimes it just ends emotionally, while both people stay. You are not asking for too much by wanting connection, presence, care. You are not needy for noticing that the love you once felt has slowly been replaced by silence, indifference, distance. And if he shows these signs, if his presence feels more like a ghost than a partner, it's okay to stop trying to prove you're worth loving. You already are. Let yourself grieve the version of the relationship you thought you had. Let yourself be honest about what's no longer there. Because love is not a feeling someone says they have. It's the energy they bring, the way they show up, the way they make you feel like you matter. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. You're allowed to stop explaining what he keeps ignoring. You're allowed to walk away from what keeps you lonely. Real love doesn't leave you wondering if it's love. If this helped put words to something you couldn't explain, make sure to subscribe and stay close. These are the conversations that bring you back to yourself.